Hi, Annette Lang here. Welcome to my podcast, The History of Personal Training, or at least my experience in it. This podcast will be a combination of my stories. Full disclosure, I might not remember things exactly the way that you did. Now, my stories of 30 plus years in the fitness industry and then specifically personal training. I was at the beginning of a lot of events, the firsts, so to speak, and so I hope you enjoy those stories. In addition, I'll be interviewing lots of different people whom I've met through the years, and I think that will help piece together a wonderful timeline of the development of this profession that we now call personal training. Enjoy! Today's interview is with Rich Ruiz. I met Rich at Equinox in the 90s when we were just kicking butt doing personal training. So this is one of the many interviews that you'll hear from someone who was a personal trainer, had several different roles in the fitness industry, and all started way back then, way back where? On Amsterdam and 76th Street. Enjoy! Okay, so I have Rich Ruiz on the phone. Rich, thank you so much for doing this with me. I wanted to just ask you about, how you got into fitness, personal training. I know I met you at Equinox. When the heck was that? And then I'll just jump in with questions when I think of them. Is that okay?
Sure. Well, you kind of remember back when God spoke to Moses? It was probably back then.
Yes, that long ago.
Yeah. Well, actually, I did not go into training as a first career. I kind of fell into it because I've always loved training, always loved working out. I was always fascinated by the body and how the function of it and all. My college background and degree started with fine arts, so I was actually a fine arts major.
Where was this, Rich? Was this in New York?
Yes. Born and raised in New York, yeah. Native New Yorker. From the fine arts, obviously I needed to make a living, so my major in college, which now I see actually suited me well in the profession, was advertising. So I was studying to become a creative director and kind of become one of those Mad Men, like the TV show.
Right.
That was my initial background. So got out of school, graduated. Everyone loved my book and portfolio, but there was a recession going on and no one was actually hiring.
Right.
So I needed to earn a living and make a living, and I've always loved fitness. And actually, while in school, kind of as electives and kind of for fun, I was always taking courses in anatomy, physiology, nutrition. So I was like, hey, why don't I give the fitness field a try till I find work in advertising? And got some work in fitness and thought, man, this is great. I'm actually getting paid to work out and help people out. And after that, I kind of never looked back. As hard as those initial days were, because as you probably know, when I first got started in this, people didn't really look at this as a career path.
Absolutely not, right.
But people kind of like myself, people like you and other folks we know, I don't have a problem kind of getting up on the soapbox and saying that we actually kind of paved the way for the kind of money that's being made by younger trainers in the industry today, because if we'd have given up back then, they probably would have been seeing the same kind of paychecks that were, being handed out in the 80s and such.
Right. So Rich, was Equinox your first real fitness job, or?
No. Actually, my first actual fitness job was right out of college, and that was what doesn't even exist anymore was Jack LaLanne Health Spas.
Oh, right.
That was my first fitness job, and from there I kind of moved up within the company, floor trainer and personal training manager. And then I left there and I went at another small franchise type of place in New York City called Apple Health and Sports.
Apple?
Down by, I don't know if you know the Fulton area down there.
Yeah.
By the water and the Fulton market and all that.
Right.
Yeah, that was down there, and then from there I bounced out to Brooklyn, and I was working at Eastern athletic clubs. I also then between that place and Manhattan, I actually started working at a great place that actually really planted the seed to eventually get my own business, and that was Soho Training Center. That was down on Green Street.
Wait, what was the name of that?
Soho Training Center.
Okay.
And that was actually strictly a one-on-one place. And, they had basically kind of trainers in the bullpen, and clients would call in and either ask for an overall one-on-one appointment, or they would call in and ask for a specific trainer. So we were literally like in the bullpen, and as trainers, and as clients would be walking in the door, they'd be kind of like pulling us out of the office and handing out sheets with workouts, and you have such and such person today, and usually some people became regulars once they started kind of like liking what you did in comparison to other trainers.
Right.
So you kind of developed a reputation there. That's actually where I met Tariq.
Okay.
And prior to that, in Brooklyn at Eastern Athletic Club, and then he also came over with me to Soho Training Center was Terrell.
Terrell. I was going to ask you about those two guys because you three were such a force at Equinox.
Right. And remember Victor as well, Melendez.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, we were called the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
That's right. So, Rich, what year did you start at Equinox? Do you remember?
Man, I think it had to have been either 95 or 96, I think.
Okay.
And, you probably, you kind of know, my history there. Actually, the first time I went there, I was not hired. Bob, in not so, kind words, kind of told me, I needed more under my belt.
Wow.
And, and I had my certifications, I had X amount of years under my belt. So I don't know if it was one of these testings where kind of like toss them back out there and kind of like see how, badly I wanted it. So I left, but it's the kind of organization that I really, really wanted to be a part of. And even when I initially went there and applied, I mean, I just love the atmosphere and the vibe of the place. And so I went out, and I can't even remember right now what else I got or what other certification, but I did that, I think, inside of like 6 months or something.
Right.
And then I went back, and I was like, well, how about now? And then I spoke with Tony and
Tony Hearns?
with Tony Hearns.
Uh-huh.
And went through there, and then actually a person that recognized me on the floor who I used to manage at Soho Training Center was Paul Virtue.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he was like, what's up? And Tony goes, oh, Paul? And I was like, oh, yeah, we go, way back from downtown Soho area and stuff. And so anyway, I mean, it was kind of apparent that people that were already there kind of like knew me from within the industry, so that also didn't hurt.
Right.
And I think I stayed, I finished off at Equinox probably about 2000, I think.
Yeah. I just remember... I remember those days at Equinox, like, because I still go sometimes to that 76th Street location to work out, and there's some, like, Marcella's still there, and I mean, she just commands the floor. It is so awesome.
Wow, yeah.
And I just think, like, back in the day, like, I just feel like it was such an unbelievable environment. Like, we were just rocking the training.
Oh, I mean, to this day, I mean, when it came to, like, a top-notch group of trainers, before that, and again to this day, I mean, there's no one place that I would find that had that kind of quality and caliber to really honestly hold a candle to us.
Yeah.
I mean, and the great thing about that it's a little kind of sad now because I see a lot of the younger trainers coming up, and it's not to say that we were not competitive and we didn't really, want to like really crush it and earn a great living at it and stuff. But I feel like we all at the time always had time for each other, and we were always trying to help each other out.
Yes.
And I feel now it's become sort of like, I don't know if it's this overly saturated field now or what it is, but I don't really tend to see that kind of family kind of atmosphere, like what do you need, will help you get there. Actually, one of the people too that I met there, and I also saw her doing all kind of, PR for herself and everything else, and I really said, you know what, I'm going to do that too. Why shouldn't I do that? I'm just as good. Was Amy Hoff.
Yes.
And and that's when I started getting involved with, more media work and interviews like this and print work. And she had shown me some of the stuff that she had done and portfolios and stuff. And I was like, I told her, great, that sounds good. And I aimed my sights in that. And, I think probably by now I probably have a portfolio that, maybe rivals hers now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I really, started to add the press clippings and everything
right.
To that and building that. And, that's kind of like one of the things that, trainers sort of like at some point sort of like they want to make themselves be the go-to person. I mean, that's kind of like that notch on your belt that you want. And in any industry, I mean, you want to be the go-to person. You want to be the expert, whether it's the niche or general fitness or whatever it is.
Right. So Rich, when you left Equinox, what did you do then?
Well, I was at Equinox, and when I was debating what I was actually going to continue doing at Equinox, as you know, I was a personal training manager prior to leaving.
Yes.
And I was making the club a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. Made 76th Street more money than they actually had ever seen before.
Wow, that's great.
I don't know if you can I talk figures here in this interview, or
excuse me?
You'd rather not. Can I speak figures on the interview here?
That's totally your call.
No, I don't. Well, I don't care. But I think their best. Prior to me arriving, I think in the personal training department, obviously not including memberships or wellness center or anything like that, I think they were in the neighborhood of 1.4 million. Was their best year.
Uh-huh.
And my best year there, I cleared 2 million.
Wow.
And I thought that was great. And, but it kind of got to the point where, the quotas just kept getting higher and higher. And I was trying to explain to upper management and ownership that, this is a tenured club. You can only get but so many new members to sign up for personal training. You can only get but so many people that are already here to sign up for personal training. It's not a new gym where the sky's the limit. So I had an idea of the ebb and flow of the place, and the numbers that they kind of started putting up in front of me, I was like, this is nuts. I would literally have to like rob people on the gym floor to get this kind of money for you guys. And my hours started to get a little crazy and stuff. And by that time, as Teddy and I had a baby on the way. So I was like, look, I think I'm just going to go back to just working with my clients and go back on the floor and actually vacate the
management,
personal training management position, because the return just started just not to be enough for me.
Right.
And then after that, it was like, okay, what's my next step?
Right.
So I've done the training, done management, went back to training. So then I said, basically, the next step is to try and keep the majority of money made in my own pocket. So then I decided to leave corporate and go into independent contracting, and find a gym and work out of there on my own, set my own hours, and basically pay the owner rent for the usage.
Right. And where did you go to do that?
The first time I heard of a place in the area, because I didn't really want to go anywhere else and start from scratch, was the training ground.
Right, Patrick, right?
Patrick Malone's place.
Right.
Yeah. And someone told me that he had opened up a place, and I hadn't seen him in a while. And someone else, I think, got in touch with him and forwarded him my information. And he called me, and we spoke. And I told him, I don't know what's going on, but I'm more than likely I'm going to be leaving Equinox. I'm trying to make another move. And then I basically told my clients that this is what I was doing. I was leaving. I'm not telling you to go with me, but this is where I'm going to be. If you guys want to look me up and continue training, it's fine. I'm still in the neighborhood. And whatever you guys want to do apart from that, I can also suggest other trainers here that may fit well with what we've been doing so far.
Very nice.
And I kind of crunched the numbers, and I kind of set my numbers and making sort of like a comfortable living at about 30% of clientele, and I was like, if at least a third of my people still wanted to continue training, I would actually be making more money as an independent trainer than working for a corporate entity.
Right.
And obviously, it was definitely expected that it would be beyond 30%. But I just set that low bar just to make myself comfortable with the numbers that would be coming.
And then when did you leave New York?
02.
Okay.
02. I don't know if you recall, but Teddy was originally from out here.
Okay.
In Colorado. And she basically, always wanted to raise the kids out here and stuff.
Oh, that's good.
And, that's sort of like where the sights were set next, and that was sort of like the next, big adventure. Let's try and, make it out here. And obviously I was a little apprehensive, new town, new state. I had relatively good success in New York, so I was scared about being uprooted and starting all over. Obviously, having to deal with major dropping of the price point.
Right. Well, but I mean, I think the biggest thing, moving to Colorado, just such a different environment than New York City.
Yeah.
But I mean,
but that part of it unto itself didn't bother me as much.
Okay.
By that point in time, I was building a family, and so I didn't mind the slowing down of the pace. That was, and I was born and raised in New York, so basically I got all the partying out of me anyway. So been there, done that. So that wasn't an issue so much. The changing of the venue, to me, it was more sort of like getting into that new business mode.
Oh, absolutely.
What do I do? What are they into there? Do I reinvent myself?
Right.
It's the same business model going to work there. So it wasn't more of in my mindset, more of a personal deal. It was definitely more of a business deal. And how do I make it there now?
And so, I mean, it sounds like you've got your own place now. Like, have you had that for a long time?
Since 05, 06, being an owner. Prior to that, once I got here, I started doing the same thing, independent contracting for other small studios, which actually at that time was actually just starting here, believe it or not.
I do believe it.
So they were way below the curve when it sort of like came to that. how, a lot, and you would definitely agree that in our industry, stuff starts to basically happen on the coast, and then it starts trickling inward to the
Right.
middle of the country.
Right.
You know.
So Rich, the name of your place is Stack Fitness, right?
Stack Fitness is actually an acronym for Strength Training and Athletic Conditioning. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about your place.
Well, it's a studio. It's strictly one-on-one, class-based, small group training. There are no memberships. Basically, when folks show up, they're either assigned a trainer or they're showing up looking for a trainer, but everyone is constantly supervised, so there's no sort of like open floor memberships where they can just come in and work on their own. The trainers that I actually have here, they are actually all independent contractors, no employees. So they basically come in, we sit down and negotiate on a tier system what their charges are going to be according to the amount of sessions per week and monthly that they're going to commit to.
And Rich, where is this, in Denver, Colorado, or?
Well, I'm actually in a suburb outside of Denver.
And it sounds like you're really happy doing what you're doing right now, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and again, you kind of like always start to look at what your next challenges are and stuff, and with the business, and do you want to expand the business? Do you want to do something else? So I'm kind of like in that frame of mind right now as well, like looking for that next business and personal challenge for myself.
That's awesome. Well, listen, I'm going to let you go, but I have to ask you the same two questions I'm asking everybody.
Okay.
And you sort of answered one of them already. What does a new person getting into this industry need to know about this profession? And you were talking before as far as like, caring for each other and helping each other. But if there's anything else, and then also, what does the average person on the street need to know about our profession? Because I don't think people realize how hard it is.
Yeah, I think that and it really shows with the saturation of trainers in our industry now. I think a lot of people get into the industry because they kind of see the celebrity trainers on
Yes.
television and the magazines and everything, and they see them on TV, and they were like, "Hey, I can yell at somebody and tell them to drop and give me 20. Sure, I can do that. It looks like you can make a great living
Right.
doing that." What they don't actually realize is that our industry, when you're really talking about the cream of the crop and the people that are earning a very good living, and I guess that's a relative term, but
Sure.
Again, let's go with figures. I would say making a good living would be six figures. Let's go with that.
Okay.
And I would kind of say that's a fraction of a percentage of the people in our industry. I was reading some research the other day, and I actually read that, and this may kind of like burst a lot of potential trainer bubbles out there, but I actually read that the average income for a personal trainer, believe it or not, I think it's about $28,000 a year.
Yeah, I do believe that.
That's kind of like the average when you're talking about full-time, part-time folks working in health clubs. So my thing is, it's like, sure, like anything else, follow your dream, follow your passion, but do not go into the industry because you think somehow you're going to be discovered and you're going to become rich.
Right.
It's not going to happen. Again, those folks are also far and few in between, and those folks a lot of times are lucky enough to be exposed to somebody within another industry or an entertainment industry or somehow that gave them that opportunity. So
Right.
no one's going to be knocking on your door, handing you over a show or something like that. The other thing is, be prepared to wear a lot of hats. When you're in the industry and you are an independent contractor, you're your agent, you're your manager, you're your accountant.
Right.
You're going to have to really go out there and hit the bricks, really promote yourself. Again, the clients are not going to be busting down your doors because you think you're really that great. You're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to put in the work on social media, on industry sites, and so forth. So it's a lot of work. It's not all going to be on the gym floor. I've seen a lot of really good trainers, good technically, that have actually failed and left the industry because they're not savvy to the business side of the industry. And
Right.
they've fallen short, and it's sad. And at the same time, as you and I both know, we've seen trainers that aren't really that great or really know a whole lot become successful
Yes.
because they have been able to market and they really have the gift of gab where they can sell, ice to Eskimos. And
Right.
But I feel the best case scenario is to be well-rounded and be a piece of those two case scenarios.
Definitely. And so I don't know if you feel like you answered the other question. What does the average person on the street need to know about our profession that they might not necessarily know? Or is it the same?
Well, I think a lot of the people that actually want personal training, I think usually, and this happens even with me, I just don't think they sit down and conduct a proper interview with their trainer.
Okay.
And they don't know about their schooling, they don't know about their certification. They just know this guy is telling me he's a trainer.
Yeah.
And that may be good enough for me. So I think they ought to sort of educate themselves, and there's no reason why nowadays you can't do that. You can do an area search for trainers. You can do a bio profile search. A lot of the major certifying bodies now, ACE, NSCA, NASM, a lot of them also have the trainers that are actually on a profile search,
Right.
where you can actually look up these things and find out what trainers are currently certified with them, who isn't. So it's almost like doing a little, not to get stalkish about it, but doing like a little mini background check.
Definitely.
Want to be working with. Another thing I would suggest to people is, and I know everyone nowadays is obviously trying to be respectful of the budget and so forth, but don't lowball yourself to the point that you're going to end up getting what you pay for. So there's a reason why I charge a certain rate, and there's a reason why the next person you speak to, may be giving you a deal at half that price.
Right.
And one of those deals is there's no replacement for experience. While the college kid is trying to figure out 2 weeks in why your body's not responding, I basically have hundreds, if not 1,000 previous cases where I figured that out with.
Right.
So you're paying for that experience, and you're also paying for that trainers' continuing education as far as what they're bringing to the table and what they will continue bringing to the table in the future for your benefit.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to let you go, and maybe we'll do this again another time to do more stories.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. It's been fun, and I'm sorry it's been this long that we actually haven't spoken.
I know. Thanks a lot, Rich. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank